Hello and welcome to a Let's Play in Victoria 2. As always, this is Densius. So, hopefully you watched episode 0 if you have no idea what Victoria 2 is. If you haven't, please go do it, as I'm just going to assume I've explained all this. And play it. Now, I'm not the man... No, do not adjust your set, I'm just having a stroke. I'm not going to lie, I'm not the best at this, but I do know enough to win things. So first up, need to combine these armies, because I'm going to liberalise, well, I suppose in a way I am going to liberalise, but I'm going to push my nation into the, well, not the 20th, 1st century, obviously. How about, let's go with the 19th. I'm going to push you into the 19th century and get you out of medieval times. First thing I'm going to do, decisions. Early Magi restoration. I could wait to have the non-penalty version, this one, but I'm fine with penalties at this point. You can get through them pretty easily. That's what I should explain. Japan is traditionally considered to have been founded by Emperor Jimmu in, I don't know if I said that right, in 660 BC, and while the imperial lineage was still considered unbroken since then, the imperial office has, throughout the Edo period, been reduced to a revered and respected, but ultimately politically powerless institution. By embracing a restoration of imperial rule, along with a program of swift industrial modernization, constitutionalism, and economic freedom, Japan might be able to break the fetters placed upon her by the impositions of the Western world. So yeah, that's because I am a shogunate faction. I'm going to stay with that. You can pause if you want to read all that. It's pretty self-explanatory. There are other versions I could just, because I'm absolute emperor, I could appoint all this, but for the moment, while I'm forcing my country to embrace the present day, I'm going to keep it at that. So there we go. I just read all that. And as you can see, average militancy has jumped up because people don't like being told how to live. But guess what? I'm going to force them to become a civilized nation. I'm going to make them become a world power and conquer everything. Well, not everything. A lot of things. I'm going to encourage soldiers for the moment. I tend to do that. And have I begun the combination for both? Excellent. Now, these first couple of episodes, I'm going to speed through because not a lot's going to happen. You must remember to do taxes. Tax everyone to death because it's expensive doing this. But don't worry, I should soon discover gold somewhere. And begin. There we go, that army's merge. Nope. Merge that army and hunt rebels, because there is going to be a war. Eventually, if not quite soon, rebels are going to upride. They're going to upride and really mess up my stuff. They're going to uprise. They're going to, if they haven't already, you would tell me that. That flag would pop up, or if there's an election taking place, or if there's a decision, or if I can enact a reform, which I can't yet, but I will be able to. Essentially, I mentioned before about, in episode 0, illiteracy. More literate, you get more research points, and that's not relevant yet. It's not relevant here, but it is in the politics tab, because I use it to enact reforms, which is the process of westernization. I'm going to focus on the right, which these are all quite expensive economic reforms that can really help sort out my country. These are military, and would be very useful if I was on the mainland surrounded by countries fighting me. But I'm not. I'm surrounded by sea. So, these are considered cores of Japan. Thank you for the arranging the upper house. However, this one is also considered a core of Russia, so it gets colonized, and that's probably going to be one of the early wars I fight, is to take this away from the Russians and take it and make it Japanese. But that's a long way away. As you can see here, the first sets, these are cheaper. They're cheaper to research, but if you look at it, it gives me 10% civilization progress, which means I need to do like that. That one's 10. That one's 10% as well. That one's 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, and 10. Now, just in case you can't count, that's not enough. I'd still have 5% left over, because that's 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80. 95%, so I'd still need to do one of these anyway. However, if I was to do, for example, finance reform, the very first one, that's plus 15, and it's not that many more points. Basically, this comes out as economically better and almost cheaper. So I'm going to go with that, because money equals better everything. And so here we are, the waiting game. The early Japan is waiting game. Tripoli. See, we just saw the restoration of Tripoli end. China can become very scary. There we go. I mentioned we'd find gold. We've been bumbling along at plus 34, roughly. It varies and averages out, but projected daily income plus 25. Until I do gold. Life rating plus 50, immigrant pressure on plus 300. Plus it changes the trade good to gold, which suddenly I'll be exporting gold. And boom. See? Lovely. Excellent income. Fact, it's got to a point where I can budget-wise improve this. Education. I can't quite do administration yet, so I'll leave it like that. And as you can see from here, it'll improve taxes and fight organised crime. However, so does one of these the administrative reform. It does that for me, plus 10% efficiency, which is useful. I don't want to have to do it for no reason. Now you see here I'm plus 48, projected plus 14, financial reform. And I've jumped up to 30% already, on the way there already, because of that plus 15 onto the plus 15 that already existed. And look at me, I'm up there again. Now, I could begin the process of, I'm clicking on all the wrong tabs. Admin stuff. Could do that. Might well. This here, like you can see, they're yellow and red and all that. They're not getting all the life needs necessary, and that's not going to change anytime soon because I'm taxing them to death in order to westernize quickly and keep a high income. And the reason why I'm doing that is I'm going to have to build a lot of buildings, like trains. I know a train's not building, I meant train tracks, and they're not building either, but please, it's scary talking constantly like this. Oh, you know what, I'm getting enough money, I will do it. And boom. The Old Man and the Sea. A fisherman off the Fukushima coast has brought in an enormous catch a day. His trawler is practically teeming with the riches of the richest of oceans as he anchors in the harbour. And fairly soon other fishermen are able to repeat his example. The fishing is unusually good in Fukushima this year, it seems. Excellent, help feed the poor. That's not a lot of militancy to get rid of, and as you can see, it's going down quite quickly. So I'll just increase our stockpile. Doop-a-doo. So here we are. Another election year has gone by. Until we westernize, we are very much, how should I put it, nothing much to do. I'm going to get sphered by America. I suppose I could have a quick look to see at their progress of doing that. I suppose I should really choose me. Japan. As you can see, I'm cordial relations with America, and they are improving with me. My other important question is Hawaii is also improving with it. They're going to sphere us both. When America inevitably declares independence... No, when America declares independence? A century... never mind, I'm having brain hemorrhages all over the place today. As you can see, that war is over. Texas is part of the United States. And quite clean colonization. Quite a lot of bouncy staircases. America's going to be caught up driving the Mexicans out of, well, Mexico, but a lot of what is eventually the United States. And taking all of this stuff. Perhaps even parts of Mexico as well. They end up getting cores and all this if they haven't already. Yeah, see, so they can launch these wars. They get that by acquiring Texas. They get Manifest Destiny, which gives them cores on all this land that's currently Mexican, but it says basically it's ours instead. You can see the focus on literacy is increasing both this and that. This is tech points, which increases the speed in which I can do things. I've never quite been able to map it properly. But these reforms get cheaper as time goes on. I don't know whether it's to do with the years, or the amount of reforms I've reformed, or some other factor I've not thought of, but it happens. So I can't ever work things out efficiently. Education reform is very useful. I might grab that next. But I'm a long way to go. I suppose I could look at newspapers. These are like little information on what's going on in the world. War between Brazil and Paraguay well, this is 4 years old. It takes a while to get the newspapers here, okay? And the Second Great Awakening in the mid-1830s. It's 1840, yeah, you can see. This is for basically historical events as well as events that are occurring throughout the world. Research being researched, like here, or expansion of territory, or wars, or just relations between different countries. It's quite a useful look at the world. Let's look at 1830 February's one. Argentina and Bolivia, Chile. Wow, the whole of the South America is fighting itself. Netherlands has expanded. It's got Brussels. Wind of westernization. Sikkim, it's not doing it for us. Well, it's not mentioning it's from us. Fears of Hamburg. Ottoman Empire and Egypt are at war. I wonder if they're still at war, or whether territory's been taken yet. The war's probably over by now. Wolves kill 4. Skirting evil. Oh yeah, they get these like little comments, joke things. It's Paradox. They do jokes. The fears of flu pandemic. Fight the disease with every available means. It costs 3,000, but no worry, we have a lot. Or I could just do that, and it does things. But I'm going to do that instead. So yeah, nothing major occurring in that bit. Go away. Holstein's relations. Okay. Chile and Argentina are at war again. Oh dear. If they haven't been at war already, I don't know. Treaty of Waitangi. New Zealand. That's not... Oh, it's not occurred yet. Oh, I get it. It's a historical event. I'll explain something else in a minute. I'll explain it in a minute. Some other stuff that's going on. So I suppose I should mention this. You see this 0 of 0, colonial power. You need to either one of the top 8 or the next 8, which are the secondary powers, the ones trying to unseat a top power. You can create colonies. That's what this grey territory is. And you can colonize. Oh, see, like I predicted, Russia's already grabbed that. If I don't get there quickly enough, they might even grab that one as well. But they focus their colonization efforts on acquiring these territories up here for a lot of the time. But essentially, you can only support so many colonies at a time. And so colonial powers tend to spin off other powers. Like eventually, England will take the whole of New Zealand and create New Zealand. It's a client state, a satellite state, it's subject to Great Britain, but it can become independent. British Australia will become just Australia. Canada will become Canada and Colombia. Colombia tends to get spun off as a separate... Colombia, tends to get spun off over here as a separate place rather than the whole of Canada as one. See, look, the Americans are already fighting the Mexicans. Anyway, let's have a look. Nope, not... Oh yes, you are there yet. Education system, I think I'll go with next. There we go. Hi. Let's check the budget. Admin is getting up there. See, by the time... It's one of my least favourite ones to research because I'm usually financially in a position where it's unnecessary. Sniff. Let's have another look at these then. I'll look at the current one. Why not? Damsel brutally murdered. The horrifically mutilated corpse of a damsel was discovered yesterday tied to a train track. The public is advised to be on the lookout for a man with a large moustache, a top hat, and a black opera cloak. That is a pretty good idea. There was a robbery in England. I think recently. I can't remember. It was they dug into the shop and stole about £80,000 worth of cash from cash machines, and the police released a statement when asked what they were looking for. The police released a statement saying they were looking for men acting suspiciously, possibly covered in dirt. Make of that what you will. Portugal and Oman, they're fighting over here, are they? France I dies. The Austrian-Hungarian Empire died. The fears of Spain. Spain and Portugal. Spain must be declining. I wonder what the great powers are like right now. I'll check in a second. 20th of August. Yep, the USA and Mexico. Letter from God. You can pause these if you really want to read them. The United Kingdom and Johor. Something's happened. Excellent. Okay, this is an event that occurs to do with the build-up towards the Confederates declaring independence and fighting the Union. It usually occurs. It's very rare that it doesn't. Cores are already there. The Confederate States of America. Now, Japanese reactionaries. These guys are unhappy that I am modernizing Japan, so I'm going to enter them in. My ambassadors, Tokugawa Shogunate of the Tokugawa Shogunate, and the army of Daimyo Mori, the diplomats of Daimyo Mori, are going to negotiate with these people peacefully and explain to them the situation. See, I won that debate. So many of their delegates abandoned their cause. 1190 did. We lost some as well, but overall we had enough to maintain it. See, look, we got rid of 6,000 delegates protesting. We convinced them to our way of doing things. It's we have a little combat there. Not combat. Well, diplomacy is often combat in many ways. There we go. And I think we've convinced them now. Yeah, we've convinced all of them that we are on the right course. I've automated them because at this point the rebels are quite a low number. They can get quite high and then I have to actually take charge of the fighting myself, but at the moment I don't need to. Anyway, back to the newspaper. Or not back to the newspaper. Okay, so at current rate we will get this done by next episode, so I will be able to actually play the game proper rather than this wait for the country to westernize game. I'll put a note in the episode that has when we're actually done westernizing, so you can just skip to that if you want. Okay, ciao for now.